I don't know about you, but I'm expecting a wild and frenetic 2020 NBA free agency. There are some really solid names, but not a lot of franchise changers. That means this year, more than ever, teams are under tons of pressure to get those signings just right. Basically,
do what the Sixers didn't do.
In today's video, I'm telling you where 5 of the NBA's top free agent centers should sign. How's it going, everybody? This is Troy, host of the Half Court Report YouTube channel. Hey, can you believe it? We've made it to video 5 in this series. Free agents, doing it position by position. Where should they sign? Already did point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and now finally to centers. So who are, what I think, some of the top centers in this free agent class, and where should they sign? We're going to get all to it. But real quick, remember, new videos several times a week about anything and everything NBA. So like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Helps me out a ton in getting this channel promoted so other people can see it. Going for 10,000 subscriptions by the end of the year, and we're almost at 6K, so I think we could do it. First guy I'm talking about is Marc Gasol of the Toronto Raptors, Big Spain himself. So maybe Gasol isn't the all-star that he once was. His defense isn't as good as it used to be, but the Raptors, there's no way they would have won that 2019 title without Gasol manning the middle. I mean, his stats, they really don't jump off the page at you anymore, but his value is immeasurable. One of those guys who they say he does things that the box score doesn't show. And I watched this guy when he was with the Grizzlies for over 10 years. He is a basketball savant. He is going to get a contract as long as he wants one, and he's going to be really good next year for whoever does sign him. He's a great communicator on defense, and his growth as a shooter and a passer has really extended his shelf life on offense. He's a really important piece for Toronto, and it's hard to imagine him playing elsewhere next season, even if the Raptors are forced to choose between him and some of their other free agents like Fred VanVleet and Serge Ibaka, who I talked about in my last video. And if it's not going to be the Raptors, I would love to see Marc Gasol on the Warriors. I mean, just imagine his basketball IQ in Steve Kerr's system. Or for that matter, what if you get Gasol onto the Boston Celtics, an extra playmaker to have out there on the floor, along with Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, fills a need for them as well, and adds a quality player to their team. Next guy I'm going to talk about is Montrezl Harrell of the Los Angeles Clippers. And Harrell is an absolute beast as an undersized center. I mean, he's only like 6'7", 6'8", but he's so good. He gets the job done, and he's in the running for 6th man of the year. He could start on a lot of teams too, though, if we're being honest. He's one of the best rim runners in the league. He kills it in the pick and roll. He has yet to really even get into his peak years, and he really seems destined for more minutes, a higher usage rate, and I think maybe a more defined role. I mean, run a play for the guy every now and then, you know? Obviously, that would imply he's not going to be with the Clippers after this season. I see him as a goner in LA. They're just not going to have the money to give him what he wants. So does Harrell just chase the money and sign with a team like Charlotte? Because they're going to have gobs of money. They'll have the cap space for him. Maybe they'd like the idea of a Montrezl Harrell, PJ Washington front court. Another option, which I think is a pretty good one, is the Phoenix Suns. That jumps out as an intriguing fit to me. I mentioned earlier how he's so good in the pick and roll. Just imagine him doing that with Devin Booker. Not to mention he fits in with the Suns' young identity quite nicely. And, you know, let's not rule out the Pistons. I think if for some reason they lose out on re-signing Christian Wood, don't think they will, but if for some reason they do, I think they might make a quick call to Montrezl Harrell and just throw the Brinks truck at him. Let's talk about Tristan Thompson of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's going to be another unrestricted free agent this offseason. Of course, he was selected number 1 by the Cavs back in 2011, has played his whole career with them. He was even on that 2016 championship team when they had Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love, who they still do. But Thompson this year averaged 12 points, about 10 rebounds, 50% shooting, He's going to get his buckets by the hoop. That's just all there is to it. That's the type of player he is. All that being said, though, I see no way Tristan Thompson re-signs with the Cavaliers. I think Thompson is at a point in his career that he's done being on a rebuilding team. He wants to win. He wants a team that's contending or at least close to it. So the first team I'm going to throw out there is Boston. You know, there were rumors that the Celtics had interest in trading for Tristan Thompson in the past, and you've heard it before. They need help in the front court. Let's also look at the Clippers as an option, because I just mentioned Montrezl Harrell. I don't see him re-signing with the Clippers. He's going to go elsewhere. So that means that's going to open up some minutes at the center spot for the Clippers, and they don't have a lot of big guys who can contribute. Thompson, he'd be fine doing the dirty work. He'd be fine letting Kawhi and Paul George do their thing. I think it's a good fit with them. Finally, maybe Houston could use a player like Thompson. I know you're thinking, okay, well, they want guys who can shoot, and Thompson can't do that. But you got to remember, they had Capella in there all those years and were successful with him. Thompson, he brings a lot to the table that Clint Capella did, and for way cheaper. Hassan Whiteside of the Portland Trailblazers is another guy that I'm interested in to see where he's going to go. Remember, Portland traded for Whiteside mainly to be a placeholder while Jusuf Nurkic worked his way back from that broken leg last season. And that's important to remember because I don't really think Whiteside was ever in Portland's long-term plans. He did have a bit of a resurgence with the Blazers, but that doesn't mean Whiteside is suddenly a superstar. But it does show that he executed his role well and can play within a team concept. Because, there were sometimes questions about that when he was with Miami. Someone is going to be interested in signing Whiteside, but I don't think Portland is going to be that team. They already have Jusuf Nurkic. They already have Zach Collins. Whiteside just isn't going to have the minutes. He's going to be the type of player who signs maybe a few days or a week into free agency when a lot of the bigger names are already off the board. I think the Clippers could snag him as a bench piece, especially, again, since Harrell is likely going to be gone. The Thunder might be interested in Whiteside as well, maybe as a backup to Steven Adams. And, Chicago, maybe they put an offer out for Hassan Whiteside as kind of Wendell Carter insurance. Because if there's one thing that Carter has shown, it's that he can't stay healthy for more than half a season. Finally, let's talk about Aron Baynes of the Phoenix Suns. I know we got lots of Aron Baynes fans on this channel. I even had a guy in my last video in the comment section. He said, "You're not saying anything about the Suns." I told him, hey, just wait for the next video. I'm going to talk about the Suns. So I'm sure we all remember when Aron Baynes came into the league with the San Antonio Spurs.
What?
Okay, now I'm just kidding. Nobody remembers that. Not even Spurs fans remember that. But Aron Baynes has slowly become a stretch five over the past 2.5 years. He's now taking 4 threes per game with Phoenix this year. And he's also going to be a good financial fit for a team that isn't going to have a ton of money to spend, because Aron Baynes isn't going to command much more than the mid-level exception type of salary. So if the Suns decide not to bring him back, I like the Lakers as an option. JaVale McGee just does not get it done. We don't know what's going to happen with Dwight Howard. Baynes' basketball IQ is way better than anybody that the Lakers have at that spot. He stretches the floor, would give more space for LeBron and Anthony Davis to operate, and he's a realistic target for them. Another option, maybe the Pelicans. Put him next to Zion. He can stretch the floor similar to how Nicola Melli does. Again, give Zion some room inside to operate, puts a solid vet out there with him, and gives you a different look from Jackson Hayes, who I figure is going to be starting for them come next season. Hey, that's what I think, but let me know in the comments what you think. Who do you want your team to sign for that center spot? That's going to do it for part 5 of this series. Make sure, if you haven't already, check out point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and power forward videos. I've got the links to those in the description. And hey, as long as you're here, like this video and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Would help me out so much. Would really appreciate it. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. This is Troy with the Half Court Report, and I'll see you next time.